This is Andy Purewal for ID Boxing. We are here in Liverpool at the weigh-in, and I'm joined by Paul Smith Jr. Paul, firstly, how are you?
I'm alright, mate, you?
All good, all good. Obviously, good to catch up with you once again. You're here to support your brother Liam Smith, who faces Hassan Mwakinyo tomorrow night now. Talk about this fight, firstly, Paul. Obviously, there were some rumours going about yesterday that the fight might not be happening. Ben Shalom kind of quashed that, saying that Hassan Mwakinyo is a bit of an erratic character. For you being a part of the team, obviously being Liam's brother as well, was you guys ever in fear that the fight might not happen?
No, not really, but obviously to come into other countries or to go to other countries, you need your visas, you need permissions, you need everything that comes with the territory of being a fighter. I still get stopped every time I go into America now because I had the visa there when I was fighting, and now I'm obviously not fighting, so it flags up. There's all kinds of issues that can create a bit of drama and a few stories, and you know what? There's so many people on Twitter and Instagram who want to pretend that they're in the know and releasing statements and releasing things about fights being off or pretending to have inside knowledge from one of the mates when they haven't got a clue. But no, the fight's all fine. Obviously, he's here. We're at the weigh-in now. We're weighing in, and the fight's on. But no, it never really ends out. But when you see the rumours, you think, well, first I've heard myself, or Liam probably thinking the same, or Liam's manager, or Liam's training team around him, or his mates or something will read it, probably thinking, oh, hang on, there might be something in this, but it's just rumours by people who think they're in the know, but they're not.
Paul, what are the dangers that Hassan Mwakinyo possesses? As everybody has said, he's the man who people will most likely remember from on the UK shores, that is, from his upset win against Sam Eggington. So what dangers does he possess for Liam that he needs to overcome on Saturday night?
Same as most, you know, but he's got power, he carries a bit of power. Liam's sparred with him before in the Rotunda. We know what he's like. You know, he rates himself a lot higher than what he probably is ability-wise. But he's improved since his last time in the ring with Liam a long time ago, and he's coming off good wins over Eggington, as you said. He hasn't lost in 10, I believe, and he's someone that Liam's got to take very seriously. And these type of fights are always dangerous because you can take your eye off the ball looking at the future fights, and Liam has been looking at the future fights, obviously, as you would. It's natural to do. When people say, oh, don't look past the opponent, it's easier said than done sometimes when you've got the likes of Chris Eubank in your sights and the promotional teams talking about that. So he has to keep his eye on the ball, be wary of everything that's coming from Hassan. But Liam's been around the block, you know, been there, done it, and got the t-shirt, and should be fine tomorrow night. He's in good shape, he's looking good in the gym, looking for a good performance.
How do you expect it to play out? Are you expecting Liam to come away with a stoppage win, or?
Yeah, I think Hassan will have to start one or two ways. It'll either be very, very defensive and negative on the back foot, or he'll start in fourth gear and he'll come out and he'll try and mix it early. He'll try and go for it a little bit, just on nerves and on. I think he's a very nervous fighter, Hassan, from what I've seen of him in sparring and from what I've heard from like previous coaches and teams that he's had and everything else. But I think that will probably be one or two ways. He'll either come out fast, right out the blocks, fighting in fourth gear, as I say, just out of sheer nerves, or he'll come out and he'll be very, very hesitant for a few rounds. But I think if that's the case and he's hesitant, I think Liam stops him between probably 7, 8, 9. I think if he comes out fast out the blocks, I think 4, 5, 6. I fancy Liam to do a job on him. I fancy Liam to do really well tomorrow and look good in doing so.
What do you want personally for Liam next? Would you rather see him position himself for a world title fight, or to have a big domestic fight? I know obviously he had the Fowler fight last year, but as I said to him yesterday, someone who's more established, somebody like a Eubank Jr or somebody else.
It's a good question, and it's entirely on Liam and up to Liam. But for me, you've won the world title. You want to be world champion again. I get that, but you've won the world title, so you know he's financially well off anyway. But there's a chance that you can secure complete financial security by fighting the likes of Eubank in the mega fight for the mega money, because that's how the game works, and then still win a world title possibly. If you win a world title, you might not get that Eubank fight, and you've already won one. It's not like your goal is to win a world title. You've been world champion. So listen, it's up to him. It's entirely up to him. You know, everyone's different. They all think different, but I think he wants that Eubank fight because he's a big name. Because Liam knows he'll do a number on him. They've sparred before. I was there. I sparred Eubank the same days as Liam was sparring him, and Liam was very, very comfortable in those spars. There was one or two where Eubank was having a good go. I don't like telling tales about sparring, but the week after the sparring, our fella got in the ring and said he'd been sparring with the Smith brothers and he handled them easy. So It's one of them things. Sparring stays in the gym, but after watching the spars, I'll be very, very confident of Liam beating him and probably stopping him.
How much more of those spars can you remember of Liam being in the ring, and what you said you take the confidence away from it, but just kind of reflect a little bit more on it for me, Paul?
A lot. I remember them. I was in them. I was sparring myself. I had 3 spars with him. You know, one of them he was good. 2 of them I was good. It's just with Liam, I think they only had 1 spar probably, and Liam done him with a decent body shot, and the little bit of acting come what Eubank does. But you know, it was a good little spar. It was good. It was very competitive, and it was good to watch. It was decent. But I've seen enough in that to know what Liam will be like, and I know they've both changed and they've both improved since then. But I know Liam inside out. I've watched Eubank. I think he's a very, very good fighter. I think he's done exceptionally well, and has a lot of pressure on his shoulders. As his young Ben, and the both of them fighting. As I say, if it wasn't for the name, as Liam said, it would just be a middleweight against a welterweight. But it's a fight that I'll be watching. It's a fight that I'll be tuning in to see, because I want to see it myself. But I've seen enough from Liam to know what he'd do if he fought Eubank, put it that way. And I'm sure Eubank will be very, very confident in beating Liam. That's boxing.
What do you think happens between Eubank Jr and Ben?
I think Eubank's too big. I think he's too big. I think it could be over quick if it gets into a tail up very early, because Ben's been erratic in the past. I think he's corrected a lot of his faults what he had at the start. I think he's improved massively, and I really like him, and I would love to see Ben pull it off. I loved his dad more than I loved Eubank, although I respected Eubank massively. Nigel Benn was one of the heroes in our house when we were growing up, and Conor Benn's a lovely kid and a nice lad, and I hope he does it, but I just think the size is going to tell on the night. I think Eubank's got a fantastic chin. I don't think many will hurt him or stop him. I think the way to stop him would be to the body. Conor Benn's not known to be a good body puncher, but anyone can do it if you put your mind to it. I think it depends on Eubank. If he comes out the way he did against, say, Liam Williams, then probably not. If he comes out the way he did against all the other fighters that he's had, where he's really gone for it and got them out of there, yields them and the likes, you know, then we'll probably see not a stoppage, but I think we'll see a shorter night, because he's accurate when he wants to be. When he lets his shots go and he puts his foot down on the pedal, he can let them go in punches. He can look devastating at times, and I just can't get past that size for me. I think on the night we'll see a big size difference, big weight difference, and that will play a part. It's not like Eubank's coming in at like 13.5 stone and going to be sluggish. He's coming in at his natural weight, what he wants to be. It's Conor Benn that's having to move up, and he may be sluggish, which he doesn't want to be with someone like Chris Eubank. So I hope I'm wrong, but I can't see past Eubank.
Just moving away from that, obviously, word on Callum as well. Another devastating highlight reel knockout win out in Saudi Arabia, getting ever closer now to that Artur Beterbiev fight. Beterbiev seen as a monster and a killer at 175, but from what you've seen of Callum, especially since the Buddy McGirt link up, how confident are you that he can be the man to beat Artur Beterbiev?
I think people will be saying Callum Smith will be a monster, a killer at 75 now. You know, at 175 he's flattened 2 people now, good opponents. You know, the last one was top 10 Ring Magazine. The one before that was top 10 with a governing body and probably top 50 in the world, coming off a points loss to Purewal, I believe. And I think Callum with Beterbiev's a totally different fight. Obviously, Callum's going to be he only wants that fight. He only wants the big fights. Beterbiev, Purewal, Canelo. You know, there's no other real fights that are of any interest or any point. I still keep seeing mentioning like the domestic light heavyweight team, which is a great division. But I think he's past that. I think most of the people watching this and listening to this would agree Callum's well past the domestic scene in here, and I feel all them have got something to prove to sort of get to Callum's level rather than Callum, vice versa. He's number 4 Ring Magazine. That'll probably improve soon. And the Beterbiev fight is a brilliant fight, and one that he'd accept now if it was offered to him. But I think the plan is to hopefully get him out in November, December time, and then fingers crossed, Beterbiev in May at Anfield, which would be unbelievable.
Just word as well on Anthony Joshua's lost to Oleksandr Usyk. What did you make of Alexander's win and Anthony's post-fight speech?
I've spoke about this, and it's he's his own man. The performance from Joshua I thought was very good. I thought he in the first 2 rounds he did more than the previous fight, I believe, and that's not criticising him for the first fight. He was in against Usyk. He just didn't know what he was in against, and he tried to outbox one of the best boxers on the planet. But I thought his performance was good. I thought he done well. I just don't know what goes on with that corner training setup, and I'm saying this, and I've just spotted him out the corner of my eye over there. Angel Fernandez, sorry. I've just spotted him over there, and it's not like I'm not I'm not going to say it to his face, but I just don't know what he does or what he was doing. Andi Joshua knows more than me. He's in camp with him. Fraser Clark's got him with him. But for me, if you've got someone like Garcia in your corner, you need to be listening to Garcia. Proven track record, you know, and will train you the best way to beat someone like Usyk. I just don't know what the setup was. One voice in the corner, that's what it should be. I help out with my brothers in the corner. I don't overtalk the trainer. I never have and I never will. If I need to say something, I feel I need to say something, they look at me anyway before they stand up, because we're brothers. We'd always do. If they're outside the ring, you'll see us looking out the ring and we'll give one little snippet of advice and that's it. But the coach gets the prime time, as he should, and the coach, he or she in the corner, should be the one voice in the corner. That's just the way I look at it. Less confusion, less, you know, rigmarole, less drama in the corner. And it's one voice, and it's that person who should have trained you properly for the full camp. I think, again, from the outside looking in, and I watched it from a few rows back at ringside, Joshua seemed to be trying to outbox Usyk as well as being a little bit more aggressive. He had a great 9th round. I thought he started really well. But I don't think ever in the fight there was a point where he was up for me, and thinking it was close and like the split decision. I didn't agree with that card at all. 8-4 Usyk probably, you know, 7-5 at a push, but a great effort from Joshua, and I can understand why he probably felt pissed off. A lot of ego damaged, a lot of, I gave me fucking best there, I gave everything I had and I still lost. But that's boxing. You gave the best you had, but it was, for me, it was the wrong tactics. For me, he approached the fight in the wrong way, trying to sort of, you know, I'd have liked to have seen a more nastier side to Andi Joshua. It doesn't matter whether people might think you're a bit of a thug or aggressive. Or that's you as a person. You're a fighter. It's a fight. He's not your mate. You know, Macklin said a great line on Sky. You know, he's not your mate. That's what Billy Graham used to say. He's not your mate. Get in there and give it to him. You know, not that touching gloves, all that stuff. Just get in there and give it to him. It's a fight at the end of the day. This kid's standing in front of you in titles and money and your family, and that's how it should be. But there wasn't much of that nasty streak in AJ, which I'd like to have seen a bit more of. But I think he could probably box him 7 times, 7 days a week, and probably win 1 or 2 if he got aggressive and fought and went for it a bit earlier. That 9th round was unbelievable. And after the fight, the speech saying, I'm not meant to do 12 rounds, or I can't do 12 rounds because of the size of me, then do 8 good ones. You know, do 8 at a very, very fast pace, and it should be enough to get people like of Usyk's size out of there, should I say, not people like Usyk, but people of Usyk's stature. It should be enough, 8 good solid rounds of grafting, working hard at a good pace.
Right, Paul, we'll leave it there now because I can hear the names being shouted at us. I don't want you to miss Liam's weighing, but I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thanks, mate. Nice one.